I'm going to start this week with a series of arguments and condemnations, usual thing, relating to poppies. And of course, in Britain every year, we have the poppy appeal, which I completely support, where people make a donation for a poppy and put the poppy on the lapel, and the money goes to help those that are still struggling through ill health and in other situations who fought in the various wars. And of course, we've had a few. And the Remembrance Sunday, where we have the big ceremonies commemorating the people who died in the wars, First World War, Second World War, and other wars since. That's on Sunday, this Sunday, and so there's, it's in the news, and every year now there are kind of conflicts relating to whether people wear the poppy or whether they don't, whether they wear a white poppy or a red one. And I think it's extraordinary. I mean, one of the stories this week, let's start with that, is about a Manchester United footballer called Nemanja Matic. And he says he won't wear a poppy on his Manchester United shirt because they have special shirts with poppies embedded in the cloth. And because it reminds him when his village was bombed when he was 12. The bombing was in 1999. It was part of the NATO-led offensive to drive out Serbian forces from Kosovo. And of course, this was a completely manipulated war by the West as part of its process of breaking up the former Yugoslavia into a balkanized series of smaller countries which they could control, and they have increasingly taken them over through NATO and through the European Union. And of course, the Kosovo rebels, supported by the West, included what have become known as Al-Qaeda, because they're bad guys when it suits you, and they're good guys when it suits you, as we've seen so many times. So Matic, you would surely understand, would not want to wear a poppy when the country that it's commemorating in terms of its military bombed his village. And, poppies mean many things to many people. Why can't we just respect them all? Instead of saying, you must believe this, you must do this, you must wear this. I remember when I worked for the BBC and it came up to Poppy Day, there was absolute panic among the production staff that the presenters had to have a poppy and don't forget your poppy, because there'll be such an outcry if you don't wear one. Even though you might have handed over money to buy one personally, it didn't matter. You've got to wear one. And I understand. As much as anyone who didn't actually take part, the importance of remembering what war really is, which is mass slaughter, overwhelmingly of the innocent. Because if you are, conscripted into an army, as opposed to making the choice to join it, and you're put into wars like in the First World War, and if you didn't do what that you were told, then you were shot as a deserter or a coward. Then they are innocent victims too. And so I'm all for commemorating that and pointing out the reality of war as opposed to the glorification of war, which you see from those that overwhelmingly never see a bullet fired in anger. So this Serbian footballer released a statement in which he said he respected the right of people to wear poppies, but he said he would again not wear one for this weekend's Manchester United match against Manchester City, which takes place on Remembrance Sunday. In his statement, he said, "I recognise fully why people wear poppies, and I totally respect everyone's right to do so, and I have total sympathy for anyone who has lost loved ones due to the conflict. However, for me, it is only a reminder of an attack that I felt personally as a young, frightened 12-year-old boy living in this home village, as my country was devastated by the bombing of Serbia in 1999. You know, I was spoke in Serbia last year, I think it was, maybe the year before, and I was in a bookshop when a guy came up to me on crutches, lost both legs, and he told me that this had happened as a result of NATO bombing of Belgrade, which of course people like Tony Blair had been the front men, and only the front men, of course, war criminal as he is, in orchestrating. The lives that have been lost and destroyed by the actions of Tony Blair is absolutely extraordinary. And then there's another British footballer called James McLean. He plays for Stoke City, and he's been warned by the Football Association over his use of an offensive word in a social media post. McLean used the word when he posted about his thoughts of the abuse he has received over refusing to wear a poppy, in which he called some Stoke fans cavemen. The 29-year-old also wrote a follow-up post reacting to the news the FA was investigating. He wrote, "The FA, this is the governing body of British football, are investigating for exactly what?" And the Republic of Ireland international McLean also claimed the FA turn a blind eye to his years of abuse that he's received. Week in, week out, for the past 7 years, I get constant sectarian abuse, death threats, objects being thrown, chanting, which is heard loud and clear every week, which my family, wife and kids have to listen to. And he doesn't wear the poppy because of the actions of the British Army in Ireland. So that's his choice from his personal experience. But you're not allowed to have choice these days. What you have to do is what you're told. And here's another story. John Simpson, he's a well-known veteran BBC foreign correspondent. John Simpson defends ITV news presenter Charlene White for not wearing a poppy on air, insisting she shouldn't have to conform. John Simpson has defended the presenter, Miss White, 38, when she stopped wearing the remembrance symbol on screen several years ago, despite receiving a torrent of racist and sexist abuse for doing so. I wonder, what do you think? I wonder if all those men, women and children died in their tens and tens of millions in the world wars. I wonder if they thought they were dying to create a world in which you received a, quote, torrent of racist and sexist abuse for not wearing a poppy. I wonder if they might have been battling against Germany in the First World War and the Second World War to protect freedoms that existed then, being whittled away since. What if they thought they were fighting for freedom, including the freedom not to wear the poppy? How about that one? But the freedom to make your own choices, well, that's something we're not allowed to have. So hitting back at the trolls on social media, good for her. Miss White, is she allowed to be called Miss White now, or is that racist? said she did not want to favour one charity over any others. Sharing an article she wrote in 2014 about her decision, she said on Twitter, "For those asking tonight, some nicely, others not, I wear a poppy off screen. I donate to the British Legion. I come from a forces family." And this BBC veteran correspondent, John Simpson, said he supported what she was doing. He said, "I too support the British Legion and wear a poppy proudly off screen, even in countries where it can cause problems. But I don't think broadcasters should have to conform to this." And he asked the question, actually, to be fair, did our forces fight so that we could make up or didn't our forces fight so we could make up our own minds about such things? But these are values of freedom that are disappearing. And, you know, these people who rave on about you must wear the poppy, it's disrespectful for those who died. Well, how many of them have done anything about wars in more recent times? What have they done to campaign against them, to highlight what's going on? What are they doing about highlighting what's going on in Yemen? Almost all of them will have done nothing. And I was told yesterday about an interchange on Twitter where someone posted the question, you know, shouldn't, in effect, the Poppy Appeal and Remembrance Sunday be about learning lessons from history about war? And some person then came on and issued the usual abuse about you young people, you know nothing, you've never been in war and all this stuff. This basically was the theme. And it was followed by the reply that actually, here's a picture of me in the Second World War, which made the other end, of course, go silent, because you're not allowed to have another opinion, and yet that is the basis of freedom. And going to this other final story about the poppies, peace campaigners accused of indoctrinating children as teaching unions promote white poppy scheme. Now, in recent times, there has been a movement to wear the white poppy as opposed to the black one, the red one, because the white one is meant to signify peace. Commemorating those who died in wars, yes, but also saying, let's stop having wars, in effect, because look what it does. I mean, it is pretty much cause and effect. But peace campaigners have been accused of indoctrinating children after Britain's largest teaching union promoted a scheme to sell white poppies ahead of Remembrance Sunday. The Peace Pledge Union, a pacifist organisation, that's controversial, don't want to kill anybody, will this week formally launch a new campaign for schools across the country to endorse white poppies. It comes after the PPU exhibited for the first time at this year's National Union of Teachers Conference, where it signed up over 100 teachers to its inaugural teacher network. Now, what they say is that this PPU white poppy movement grew out of the conscientious objectors movement of the First World War, and aims to challenge what they see as the glamorization of war through the sale of red poppies. Now, some of that does go on, let us not forget. But for me, what is freedom? Freedom is choice. The fewer choices you have, the less freedom you have. As simple as that. The more choices you have, the more freedom you have. And so I don't agree with either of them. I don't agree that this union should go around signing up schools to promote the white poppy. And I don't agree with the attacks on the white poppy movement by often military type people. Surely, if we are going to bring up children to think for themselves, You simply have some time at these schools to say, do you know there's two types of poppy now on sale as we go up to Remembrance Sunday? And what I'm going to do, I'm just going to tell you what the red poppy supporters say about why you should wear a red poppy, and what the white poppy supporters say for wearing theirs. And then we're going to have a discussion about the merits and otherwise of the white and red poppy and what it represents and what you think about war. And we're going to have a discussion. And everybody's opinion is going to be respectfully listened to. That is what you do if you want children to critically think and think for themselves and have their own opinions. What you do if you don't is you tell them this is what they have to think, or you push one thing above something else you don't agree with. So in this whole white poppy, red poppy argument, I see rights and wrongs on both sides. And the key for me to everything is give people all information available, all views available, and then respect their right to come to their own opinion. That's the kind of world I want to live in. But we increasingly don't. And we allow it to happen by not standing up for it and not having our opinions no matter what other people may think.